Hey, all right. I really don't want to do this update. I was hoping that there wouldn't be any more updates for a while, but but here we are. Um, Basically, Adobe has a huge stick up their ass. So, yeah, because I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. Basically, I got the new laptop, got an external disk drive, installed Photoshop, and for a couple days it was working. Okay, back in business. Cool. And next thing I know, I get a pop-up saying that if I didn't take the program off of two devices that it was on, the program wasn't going to work anymore. And that I had X amount of days to do that. Okay, no problem. I, so I went into my Adobe account, but in the account, it showed nothing. Nothing for me to deactivate. So who's lying? When I looked in a forum, there were a lot of other people who were dealing with this. There was one person in particular who talked about how they got the runaround. They tried to talk to somebody, they tried and basically it was like Adobe was, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't, we didn't send that. We didn't send that pop-up to you at all. But here, why don't you sign up for this subscription? So basically they're sending this and telling us that our program doesn't work. A program that we paid for doesn't work anymore, but we have to sign up for the subscription and buy the program again. That's not how it works. You are obligated to make the program work. We already bought the program. And anyway, I really, considering how many times I've tried to do this video, I really don't want to go on that tangent again. Yeah. But truth of the matter is yes, I'm angry. Okay. And when I was reading other people's accounts of trying to deal with this, I do want to say this. Those of you that are cheerleaders for these corporations, stop. Okay. You look stupid. All right. First of all, why are you, how much are you being paid to do this? Okay. If you don't have the common sense to understand that what they're doing is sleazy and underhanded, those of you that were cheerleading for Ubisoft, where are you now? Ubisoft can't even be sold for peanuts now. Nobody wants it. Okay. That company is bankrupt. But there were a whole bunch of people who were saying that what that dumbass CEO said, that gamers to just accept that they don't own the video games that they buy. Yeah, look how that worked out. Well, Adobe is in the same boat right now, sinking. Basically decided, you know what? These editors of all different kinds don't really need to own what they just bought. Yeah, this is really gonna shoot them in the face. Um, because there were people, I read so many different accounts where people were talking about how they either got fired or almost got fired because their company, like marketing companies rely on, the marketing department anyway, rely on Photoshop in some way or another. And so when Photoshop just decide, I mean, Adobe just decides to shut down like that, and it has nothing to do with like a server crash, and they just decide to shut that down and then say, well, you need to sign up and then give the runaround for one reason or another. Yeah, people were scrambling. They were scrambling to save their job because Adobe has a stick up their ass. And, somebody like me, I'm backed up. Okay. The last time I restored a picture was in June, which doesn't look good on me, and I totally know that. I mean, grandma passed away in July and going through the grieving process, and then when I go to sit down and work again, my laptop blows up. Not literally, but you get the idea. And then I get an external and specifically to install Photoshop again. And turns out Photoshop decides not to work. This is bullshit. Photoshop isn't just used for photography and so that kids can manipulate themselves in with their favorite band or something like that. No, it's, oh my gosh. Like, I'm realizing just how much I use Photoshop. I make the thumbnails for the videos that I put out. Um, I I make the book covers. I'm sure that there are so many others who make their own book covers, so many other writers who make their own book covers and everything. It's just easier that way. Saves a lot of money. And of course the restoring and the colorizing, the pattern making. I was hoping to put Goku out this year because of the fact that the creator died this year. So it was going to be a tribute. It looks like it's not going to happen. I finished the project at least, and I did show that. And but yeah, this has set me back so much, as it did a lot of other people, and they're not happy. Well, here's the thing. This last week, when it first happened, because I think it was we got the external Sunday, and then I think it was Tuesday was when I got the alert. Okay, so I was working with a program. I had found a program because I looked for alternatives, and I found a program and I thought it was perfect. It's not. Everywhere I looked said that it worked with PSD files because that's specifically what I was looking for because of all the files that I have. And it doesn't. Okay, I was like, why is it? Okay, it was set up close to, but it wasn't a copy and paste. There are those that are copy and paste of Adobe's Photoshop. It's like it has the same template and everything and has all the features, all that. This one, it looked similar enough, but the problem is that when I would put something in, it was like it just wanted to flatten everything. And it just, I'm like, but I want to use this. So, like, for instance, I wanted to make a thumbnail for a film critique and it wouldn't change anything. So, like, the film critique that I was hoping to put out today was released in 1920. And the template that I have, it says 1923. Um, and so when I tried to change that, it wouldn't change. It was all screwy. Well, it turns out that everywhere I looked, it said that it was fine with PSD files. So I did a little more looking and turns out it doesn't. It does not like PSD. And I'm like, well, I wish I had found that before I downloaded it. So I uninstalled it and I'm looking around. And there's one in particular that people are completely satisfied with. And a lot of people have said that ever since the subscription thing happened with Adobe, they turned to this and they have never turned back. And this has been their number one go-to. And I'm thinking, well, that's great, but I'd have to buy it. Because when I looked on the website, it said a 6 month trial. And usually with those trials, they immediately say, well, you tried it, now you have to buy it. And which is understandable, you know. I don't blame them for that. This, this is not like those free samples at Costco. No. You got 6 months now. Yeah. And especially when so many people are saying such good I looked around quite a bit on this one and they I didn't see anything negative about it. In fact, there were people that were mad that a lot of these sites that were saying alternative website because there were sites that were talking about alternatives to Adobe, and this particular program was not listed, and people were not happy about that because it was so good. And so I did some looking, and because I put so much money into getting my laptop and the external and everything, I'll have to wait. And that's where we're at. Is, because I have 3 videos right now sitting on hold. I have a reaction to Stone Protectors. I have a reaction for Little Mermaid. Actually, I have four. No, I have four. There's another Seattle Newsboy union and the silent film critique for this week. But the reason that they're not out is because I haven't been able to make the thumbnail. Now, what we can do is we can go ahead and just not have the thumbnail. We can do it that way. And I mean, what I really appreciate is that you're understanding. You have always been understanding on this channel, but I wanted to let you guys know what's going on. Um, and right now I'm having to be dependent on the pictures that I've already restored and colorized, as well as the uh patterns and stuff that I've already done. And which I need to put out. I don't think I put out my Halloween um edition for the uh pattern. I've just been oh everything. My friend did try to I was talking with a friend last night and he did reassure me and he was like, well, maybe all of this is a positive because of when I didn't have my laptop. I did a lot of writing and working on my science fiction fantasy series. And he says, you want to know something? With that in mind, it could be that because you had said that you wanted to re-edit your old stories and you only put out one so far, which was the Titanic book. Um, maybe this is kind of a positive to help you just focus on your writing. Because I talked about um my 1930s adventure series and there's the short story book and science fiction fantasy. And then when I started playing Black Flag, I got inspired to write a pirate story. So that's four right there. And and then to re-edit those other stories. It- but it's like I only put out one. So I get where he's coming from. Yeah, definitely. So I just wish it hadn't come this way. But he does have a point. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with that science fiction fantasy, when I actually had the chance to sit down and write it, I was realizing just how much I could take out of it, and it could only be the two books. And I don't understand where so many people. I will say this, and then I'll close up because there are so many people now where it's like they think that they have to put seven or eight uh, books into a series, and it's like, okay, it's not the 70s anymore. Okay, it's not the 70s or 80s anymore. I had a series of books that had 19 in them. It was like it could have ended maybe on seven. And the way that the series worked was that it went through generations. It was like one of those that was set in ancient times and it went through the series. And I'm telling you right now, that author, I could tell that he was copying and pasting. He was being lazy about it. And just 'cause I'm like, I know that I've read about this particular character before. I went back to another book because I had all the books. And once I realized that the character that I was reading was from a previous book, it was like the exact same. I got rid of all the books. I was so disappointed. It's just like, no. And with Robert Aspirin, I mean, the myth books, I talked about them. I mean, he was a genius when it came to comedy, with his comedy series and everything. Now, I don't have the last two in there. And a friend of mine told me that the last two were lacking. It was almost like um he grabbed from previous stories and he was almost obligated to just go like contractually obligated. I think that's the right way to put it, to put out these books. And so they didn't have the spark that the rest of the series had. So I haven't read them, so I don't know. But the truth of the matter is that when it comes to series anymore, three, maybe four. They don't need the seven or eight, all these different. I don't know why people are doing that anymore. You don't need to do that. Oh my gosh. Maybe one day I'll sit down and talk about that, but not here. Anyway, I wanted you to know what was going on. Yes, I have videos that need to be put up, but I wanted to let you know why they haven't been put up. And yeah, I'm disgusted with Adobe right now. Oh, when it rains, it pours, right? I'm trying to find a positive. I really am. Anyway, I'll close up here.